coverage of the NFL Draft. Sal Paolantonio, ESPN. Seen him all over the TV today, talking a lot of Giants. Also, the Eagles trade up, number 22. They make a pick. Andre Dillard, they go tackle. Did Sal Pal like the pick? And what's next? And who could be on the move? Let's get into all that right now and talk some draft with ESPN's national NFL reporter, Sal Paolantonio, on a Sal Pal Friday, day after the draft, round one. We had to give him Sal Pal Friday, the day after the draft, Sal.
I like it. I'm up in North Jersey still with the Giants, but I'm obviously monitoring the Eagles situation very closely.
I've seen a lot of you on the television talking Giants there in North Jersey. I'm wondering, has there been any positive vibes from the Giant fan base? Everything seems negative.
They're really getting ripped. Not because of Daniel Jones, but because of where they took him.
Yeah.
Right? Because Daniel Jones was a first-round quarterback, a consensus first-round quarterback, but not a consensus top 10 or top 15 either, for that matter. And nobody that I know, no GM and no scout, had him as a top 6 pick with a grade equal to that of Josh Allen, the pass rusher of Kentucky, who was available at 6. And the Giants do need an outside linebacker, a rush outside linebacker from the right side. That's Josh Allen's side. He's from Montclair, New Jersey. They could have picked him and taken Daniel Jones out of Duke at number 17. There's a lot of whispers now, Mike, rationalizations, if you want, that other teams were going to take Jones before the Giants, but I did a little investigating. I talked to 2 independent sources separately with the Broncos, and the Broncos were not going to take Daniel Jones at number 10, so they were not a threat. And some people have recently suggested that the Redskins were so enamored with Jones that they were going to take him before the Giants were on the clock. They were trying to trade up. But I talked to Diana Rossini, our intrepid reporter down in Washington, and she said Daniel Snyder was calling the shots, and it was always going to be Dwayne Haskins out of Ohio State. Yeah. So the Giants could have waited, and they didn't, and that's why they're getting pummeled.
Well, they got 3 picks, and they took Lawrence at 17, and they got the corner at number 30, so 3 spots for them, which is nice. You got 3 players. The Eagles, on the other hand, one guy they traded up to get, Andre Dillard. I guess they have had enough with the Peters in and out of the lineup. Now, this doesn't mean Peters going to be sitting right, but this means maybe they've had enough of the Vitae getting thrown into these games. And there's a lot of times where Vitae gets extended playing time. Now they make a trade to get a first-round player. So Jason Peters' heir apparent is not going to be Jordan Mailata, I would assume. It's going to be Andre Dillard.
Well, this is definitely an indication that the Jordan Mailata experiment is over. That's done. It was a wasted pick last year. He couldn't even dress on Sunday. I kept watching Jeff Stoutland, the offensive line coach, work him out pregame, work him out on the side after practice. It wasn't getting any better. He's a big-time project that's bordering on bust. It's hard to say a guy's a bust because he's a ex-rugby player from Australia, but you know they didn't have very many picks last year. And they could have probably got him as an undrafted free agent, but they wasted a pick on him. So, I think that, to me, and the Vitae situation is out of control. You're right. They needed to have a pedigree. A guy like Dillard has some pedigree, has some production in school. My problem, though, Mike, is you dedicated 3 picks to one guy to move up 3 spots. Now, I don't know about this top 10 grade that Howie Roseman says that Andre Dillard had. I mean, I'm glad they picked an offensive lineman. Don't get me wrong. I've been on record saying picking Marquise Hollywood Brown would have been a huge mistake. That guy is going to be injured in the pros. He's already injured. And so picking him in the first round was, in my view, dumb by the Ravens. But, I mean, I don't know about taking 3 picks and dedicating it to go 3 spots to get Andre Dillard.
Yeah. Yeah, and I guess they like Dillard that much more than the next tackle on the board because I guess they had to know Houston wanted to take him in that spot, and that's why they had to move ahead of them in that spot.
JaJuan Taylor is still there, though. They could have taken JaJuan Taylor, and I don't think there's that much difference between the two of them, to tell you the truth.
So
I don't.
No, I would. I personally, but I'm saying they must have liked Dillard that much more that they felt that they couldn't get the second of the. They didn't want to make a choice. They wanted to make the choice.
Well, I mean, I have Our Lad's Guide to the Draft, which is my Bible for 25 years. Offensive tackles, Jonah Williams, first-round grade. Andre Dillard, first-round grade. JaJuan Taylor, first-round grade. Caleb McGarry of Washington, first/second-round grade. So they could have sat at 25 and taken JaJuan Taylor. Now, the fact that JaJuan Taylor is still on the board, maybe there's some red flags on the guy that I'm not aware of, but Taylor was available at 25, and they didn't have to dedicate 3 picks, and now they only have 4 picks left. It's not very many players. This team's in salary cap hell.
Yeah.
Has been for a while. And if they're going to pay Carson Wentz, they got to get younger and cheaper.
Was going to bring that up. They only have 4 players left. They got 5 total players in tonight. They've got salary issues. You mentioned depth. The one thing I said at the beginning of the show, Sal, was no matter who they took, if you didn't like the tackle because you're saying, well, he's not going to play, I don't know that they would have taken a player at any spot in this draft that would have got immediate playing time, right?
Yes, that is correct.
They are pretty much locked in with guys, but they're aging. So this is where your point comes in is, hey, let's get a bunch of guys so as these aging guys start to slow down, we have somebody to kind of filter in. They're only going to get 4 cracks at it the rest of this draft. So that's where I kind of agree that, you gave up a lot to move up 3 spots here. So Howie's going to have to do a lot of
much, not a lot, way too much, Michael. And they only picked 5 guys last year, Michael. I want to say.
Last year, 5 guys last year, and they have 4 picks this year, and he gave away 2. Correct. So yes, they're only going to have 10 guys over the last 2 seasons here.
That's ridiculous. That's insane. The Patriots, I think, have 13 picks in 1 year.
Yeah, they had 12 coming in. What, 13 or 12 coming in? Yeah, and so. Now, a lot of people mentioned.
So what do they do in round 2 is the big question.
Right. A lot of people mentioned Hollywood Brown, and that would have been an indication that maybe one of the guys on the right, like Nelson Aguilar's name keeps getting mentioned out there. Did they look receiver in round 2 and use Aguilar maybe to get more picks?
I don't know who wants Aguilar. The teams know that the Eagles are not going to pay him in 2020 when he's unrestricted free agent. They're probably just saying, hey, you're probably going to release him anyway. We're not going to give you a top-round pick for that. I don't know a single team that's been interested in Nelson Aguilar. I know it's pretty clear that they're going to try to move on from Aguilar, but I don't know if it's going to be very successful. At number 53, though, if Hakeem Butler of Iowa State is there,
I like him.
Love him. He was one of Greg Cosell's highlight guys in our matchup show, our draft matchup specials. I like Hakeem Butler. He is just not as super fast as Marquise Brown. He doesn't have Deshaun Jackson speed, but he's super fast enough to make a difference. He's got good hands. He's a good route runner. He's a very physical player, as you know. I don't know if he's going to be there at 53. If he's not there at 53, I would go with Rock Ya-Sin out of Temple. And then
safety.
At 57, I would take Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, the strong safety out of Florida. I would go corner safety in these next 2 picks. There's plenty of them available, and that's what I would do.
Yeah, they had the 2 4th-round picks coming into the draft. They gave up 1 last night, so they have 2 seconds, no 3rd, a 4th, and a 5th, and that is it. The rest of the way. So tonight you're looking at secondary tonight.
Rock Ya-Sin, if he's there at Temple at 57, or 53 actually, if Hakeem Butler's not there. I wouldn't wait around to the 57th pick for Rock Ya-Sin, but I would take him at 53 if I couldn't get Butler. And then at 57, I would jump at the chance to get Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, the strong safety out of Florida. And then in the 4th round at 138, if they can find a way to get Darrell Henderson, the running back out of Memphis.
Yeah. We had him on the show at the Super Bowl.
That's what I would do, for sure.
Yep, running back.
Unless Miles Sanders is there. I like Sanders better because he's a shiftier, quicker guy. But Darrell Henderson also can do damage in the passing game.
Yeah.
And he's got that big, thick lower body like the guy from New Orleans.
Yeah. Kamara.
Alvin Kamara. Alvin Kamara. He's got that thick lower, will break tackles in the open field body like Kamara.
Yeah.
So I like Darrell Henderson, but you may have to jump up a spot or two to make sure you get him. But if he's dangling out there, Michael, late in the fourth round, he could really help solve a lot of the running back issues that they have.
Sal Paolantonio, last time we talked, you had mentioned interior defensive line. Is that still something they have their eye on? Or bringing Jernigan back was, number one, was that a surprise? And number two, has that sufficed for them to at least put the Band-Aid for the year?
Right. Once they signed him, I said, well, they're not going D-tackle in the first round. I think they looked at the board, and they saw that Dexter Lawrence, a guy that they liked a lot, was going to go earlier, and he did. He went to the Giants at 17. Yeah. Well, I think they did their homework on the board, and they saw that Lawrence was going to be gone, a guy that they liked. And at the bottom of the first round, after Simmons was gone, that was that. So they had to lock up Jernigan. They may still go defensive tackle for a depth situation, but Mike, those late round defensive tackles, they're good plug-in play guys late in a game for about 20, 30 snaps maybe, but they don't stick around for very long. They're not real big impact guys. It's very rare that you have a big impact defensive tackle guy late in the rounds. It really is. That's for your running backs, your guards, and your tight ends.
It was a interesting night one. The Raiders got it all jumped off by taking Farrell at number 4, then the Giants. But real quick before we run here, Sal, in the division, Washington, they got a quarterback and the sweat kid at 26. It looked like Daniel Snyder. A lot of people were laughing that he was running the draft, but he might have had a good night.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I still think Case Keenum's going to get the bulk of the time at quarterback. But Haskins will probably start at some point. It was, in that respect, it was a great night for Philadelphia Eagles fans. Why? Because, it looked like the Giants and the Redskins are going to be starting over with rookie quarterbacks.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's a big, big plus for the Philadelphia Eagles. And, when I look at the Eagles' schedule, I always look at, okay, Jim Schwartz versus who? Right?
Young quarterback.
Jim Schwartz versus a young quarterback. That's Thanksgiving meal for him.
All right, tonight, by the way, Hakeem Butler, Iowa State. I watch him a lot because he rips up my Mountaineers all the time. That kid's a player, very physical, big, talented kid. There's some nice picks. The kid Metcalf, I don't know where you feel about him, but he's still available. If you're looking at wide receivers, A.J. Brown, Boykin from Notre Dame. So there's some guys, Greedy Williams, Byron Murphy. Yep. So there's some interesting names that are still alive. The Eagles have 2 picks in the second round, and our coverage starts at 6 o'clock tonight on 97.3 ESPN. You have been treated to a draft edition of Sal Pal Friday here on the Sports Bash.
Michael, true story. Just got to throw it in there. When I got out of my hotel, I stopped along Route 3 up here, stopped at the Dunkin' Donuts and grabbed myself a dozen donuts for the security guards.
I wouldn't have thought any other thing would happen. I hopefully.
And when my producer, when he left his hotel, he was smart enough to text me and say, "Sal Pal, do you need a D&D before I come in?" And I was like, "Yeah, bring me an extra one."
Nice.
My producers have figured out by now that you gotta at least call me and find out if I'm all set.
Right, exactly. And if you're not set, pick up a dozen donuts just to make sure you are. All right, my friend. Good coverage in the round 2 of the draft. I'm sure you'll be all over this weekend.
All right, I'll talk to you.
All right, Sal Paolantonio here on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline.